The sun had barely touched the horizon when the strange cries began. They were soft, high-pitched, almost like the whimpering of a lost child, but they were not human. On the quiet streets of the small outpost, people passed by quickly, heads down, pretending they did not hear. No one stopped. No one looked. The source of the sound was a small figure huddled in the corner of the alley. Its skin shimmered faintly, a pale green that glowed in the fading light. Big black eyes, too round and too wide, stared at the ground. Tiny hands shook as it covered its face and cried. Something about the child seemed fragile, yet strange. The air around it felt different, unsettling. Everyone who walked past whispered excuses in their heads. "Not my problem. I'm late. It's not human. Better avoid it." Life here had taught them to ignore the unusual. Strange creatures often appeared, and most were harmless. Most. But there was fear in the unfamiliar. Only one human stopped. His name was Ethan. He was not a hero, not by reputation. He was just a messenger, someone who traveled between the colonies delivering packages and letters. But something in him could not ignore the small creature. He crouched down slowly, careful. Not to startle it. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked softly. His voice was gentle, like he didn't want to scare it further. The alien child froze. Its wide eyes met his. There was a spark of hope, a fragile trust that had been crushed by every other passerby. Ethan held out his hand, hesitant, but open. The child inched forward, unsure, sniffing like it was testing whether this human was safe. Ethan could feel the tension in the air, a quiet warning that something was not normal. There was a story here, a secret, and he could sense it. But before he could speak again, a group of humans came around the corner. They saw the small alien and shook their heads. "Get away from it," one shouted. "Don't touch it. It's dangerous." Ethan's heart beat faster. Dangerous? How could a child be dangerous? The cries grew louder, more desperate. Something inside him burned, a mixture of fear and empathy. He made a choice, one that would change everything. He stood his ground. "Leave it alone," he said firmly. "I'm going to help." The others hesitated, casting nervous glances, then walked away muttering. Ethan knelt beside the child. He could see its tears now, glistening in the faint light. He reached out slowly and touched its tiny shoulder. The child flinched, then slowly relaxed. It was a small victory, but one that felt enormous. Then, as if sensing Ethan's courage, the child did something strange. It looked up at him, and its eyes seemed to glow a little brighter. A soft hum filled the alley, almost musical, almost like it was speaking without words. Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. He realized this child was not just lost, it was special. Something was coming. He didn't know what, but he felt it in his bones. The quiet city streets suddenly felt alive, charged with tension. Shadows seemed to move faster, corners darker than before. And yet, for the first time, Ethan did not feel alone. He had made a choice, and the universe seemed to notice. The cries softened, replaced by a quiet connection between human and alien. For a moment, there was hope. But Ethan knew the danger was not gone. Whatever was waiting in the shadows, whatever secret the child carried, was about to reveal itself. And in that moment, as the sun disappeared completely behind the horizon, a simple truth became clear. Sometimes, one human is all it takes to change the fate of a world. Ethan did not move from the alley, even as the last of the crowd disappeared around the corner. He kept his eyes on the small alien child, who now clutched his hand as if holding onto a lifeline. The child's trembling had slowed, but its wide black eyes still darted nervously, scanning the shadows as though expecting danger to jump out. "At any second, don't worry," Ethan whispered. "I won't let anyone hurt you." The child tilted its head, as if it understood, though it did not speak a word. A faint glow shimmered from its skin, pulsing in rhythm with its small, quick breaths. Ethan had seen many strange creatures in his travels, but there was something different about this one. Something extraordinary. Suddenly, a low hum vibrated through the air. Ethan froze, listening. The sound was soft at first, almost like distant music, but it grew louder, vibrating in his chest. The alien child looked up at him, its eyes glowing brighter. The glow was warm, not frightening, but it carried a strange power. Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. "Can you show me?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The child hesitated, then extended a tiny hand. From the glowing fingertips, a thread of light stretched out, hovering in the air between them. It twisted and curved, forming shapes that seemed alive. Ethan blinked in disbelief. He had never seen anything like this. It was beautiful, but he also felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Before he could say anything, a sudden sound broke the moment, a screech from above. Ethan looked up to see a shadow flit across the rooftops. His heart leapt. The city was rarely empty at this hour, but no human had moved that fast. Whoever or whatever was up there was watching them. The alien child flinched and pulled back. Ethan gently held its shoulders, grounding it. "It's okay," he said. "I'm here. We'll face it together." The shadow returned, this time descending toward the street. Ethan's hand instinctively reached for the small device he carried. At all times, a communicator he had never used for danger before. But this was not a normal threat. The moment the figure came closer, he saw it was another alien, taller and darker, with glowing red eyes. Its expression was unreadable, but the tension in the air was immediate. The child's glow flared, almost like a warning. Ethan realized the child was not just helpless, it had its own powers, yet it was terrified. The tall alien stopped a few feet away, tilting its head slowly. There was a silent recognition, a communication that Ethan could not understand. The child whimpered softly, stepping closer to him. Ethan's mind raced. "We need to get out of here," he said quietly, scanning the alley for an escape route. But the shadows seemed to stretch endlessly, closing in from all sides. He knew running would draw attention, and not just from the taller alien. Something about this situation felt bigger than either of them. Then, without warning, the child's glow expanded, illuminating the alley with a warm golden light. The tall alien froze, its red eyes narrowing. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the courage rise within him. "Stay behind me," he whispered. "I won't let anything happen to you." For a moment, time seemed to pause. The two aliens faced each other in silence, while Ethan held his ground, heart pounding. Then, almost imperceptibly, the taller alien stepped back. It was not retreating, more like it was waiting, testing. Ethan did not lower his guard. The child's small hand squeezed his, the glow dimming just slightly. Ethan could feel the trust growing between them, fragile but real. This was no ordinary encounter. He realized that the child had chosen him, not the other way around. And in that choice, there was hope and danger. Ethan knew one thing for certain. The moment they left the alley, their lives would change forever. He did not yet understand the full story of the crying alien child, but he knew it was something the galaxy had never seen before. And he, a simple human, had become a part of it. As the night deepened, shadows moved silently in every corner of the city. Ethan and the child remained in the alley, bound by courage and a growing trust. Whatever was coming next would test them both, but for the first time, neither would face it alone. The alley grew colder as the night deepened. Ethan could hear the faint hum of the city around them, but here, in this small corner, it felt as if the world had shrunk down to just him and the small alien child. Its trembling had slowed, but every now and then, its black eyes darted toward the shadows. "You're safe for now," Ethan whispered, though even he could not fully believe it. Something about the way the taller alien had watched them still gnawed at his gut. He knew that stranger was only waiting for the right moment. The child lifted its small head and made a soft, high-pitched sound. Ethan crouched closer. "What is it? Do you want me to follow you somewhere?" The alien child pointed toward a narrow passage leading away from the main streets. Ethan hesitated. He did not know where it would lead, but the trust in the child's gesture was strong. He nodded, and together they slipped silently into the shadows. As they moved, Ethan noticed something strange. The walls of the passage glowed faintly, reflecting a light that did not come from the city. It pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. The child's glow brightened in response, and Ethan felt a mixture of awe and unease. Whatever this child was, it was connected to something far bigger than either of them. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the ground beneath their feet. Ethan froze. The sound came from somewhere deep beneath the city, vibrating up through the pavement. The child whimpered and pressed itself closer to him. "Stay close," Ethan murmured. "I don't know what that is, but we'll face it together." They reached a small opening at the end of the passage, a hidden chamber beneath the city. Inside, the walls were smooth and metallic, covered in strange glowing symbols. Ethan's heart pounded. He had seen ancient ruins and alien technology before, but nothing like this. The chamber seemed alive, pulsing with energy that made the hair on his arms stand on end. The child stepped forward, its tiny hands touching the glowing symbols. The hum grew louder, resonating with the child's glow. Ethan could feel a strange warmth spreading through the room. He realized that the child was not just crying earlier, it had been calling for help, signaling to something or someone. Before he could ask a question, the shadows in the chamber shifted. The taller alien appeared at the entrance, its red eyes cutting through the dim light. Ethan stepped in front of the child instinctively. "You shouldn't be here," the alien said, its voice low and sharp, almost mechanical. "This place is not for your kind." "I'm a human," Ethan said firmly, "and I won't let you hurt it." The taller alien studied him for a long moment. Then, to Ethan's surprise, it turned its gaze to the child. "You were not supposed to awaken so soon," it said softly. The child flinched, but did not retreat. Instead, it pulsed brighter, almost defiantly. Ethan's heart raced. He had no idea what the alien meant, but he felt the weight of the moment. The child was special, more than anyone in this city, or perhaps the galaxy, had ever imagined. And whatever secret it held, it could change everything. The tall alien stepped closer, but not in attack. Instead, it circled them, observing. "You have chosen to protect it," the alien said to Ethan. "Few humans would do that." Ethan swallowed. "I don't care what it is. No one deserves to be left alone and afraid." For a moment, silence fell in the chamber. Then the child let out a soft musical sound that echoed off the walls. The tall alien's red eyes flickered, almost like hesitation. It took a step back and spoke in a voice only Ethan could barely hear. "Then you will face what comes next together." Ethan glanced at the child. Its tiny hands trembled, but the glow was steady now, brighter than before. It trusted him, and he trusted himself to protect it. Whatever was waiting, whatever danger the shadows held, they would face it side by side. Outside, the city slept, unaware of the forces stirring beneath its streets. Ethan knew that this night would change everything, not just for him, but for the human race, and perhaps for the entire galaxy. And in that quiet chamber, with the alien child by his side, he realized one undeniable truth. Courage was not about strength. It was about choosing to do what was right, even when everything else told you to run. The chamber pulsed with a strange light, almost alive, and Ethan felt its warmth, but also its warning. Something powerful was here, something ancient. He glanced at the small alien child, whose glow now matched the rhythm of the chamber, almost as if it was communicating with it. Ethan had no idea what was happening, but he could feel the tension pressing in from all sides. The tall alien, the one with red eyes, stood silently at the chamber's entrance. Its gaze was sharp, calculating. Ethan could sense it was testing him, measuring how far a human would go to protect something so fragile. The child trembled slightly, but did not hide. Somehow Ethan understood. The child trusted him completely. And that trust carried a weight heavier than any weapon. Suddenly, the ground beneath them shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the symbols on the walls glowed brighter, almost frantic. Ethan stumbled, catching the child before it fell. A deep hum, like a low growl, filled the room. The air felt thick, charged with electricity and something else, something alive. What is happening? Ethan whispered, more to himself than anyone else. The taller alien's eyes narrowed. "You have awakened it," it said, voice low and grave. The entity was never meant to stir while humans were present. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. "Entity? What are you talking about?" The child's glow flared suddenly, responding to the taller alien's words. N could feel it. The energy radiating from the child was immense, almost impossible. It was not just a helpless being. It held power, ancient and mysterious. And someone or something wanted it. A sudden movement at the far end of the chamber made Ethan freeze. Shadows twisted and shifted, forming shapes that seemed almost human, but wrong. They moved faster than the eye could follow, closing in from every side. The chamber, once quiet and mysterious, now felt like a trap. "Stay close," Ethan murmured, holding the child protectively. "I won't let anything happen to you." The shadows reached closer, and Ethan saw them clearly now. Small drones, alien in design, with glowing eyes and sharp metallic limbs. They moved in perfect synchronization, scanning the room, detecting the child. Their purpose was clear: retrieve the child at any cost. Ethan's mind raced. He was just one human, standing against a force he could barely understand. But something inside him refused to back down. He straightened his posture, gripping the child's tiny hand. "If they want it, they'll have to go through me," he said, voice steady despite the fear clawing at him. The taller alien studied him, its red eyes flickering. Then with a swift motion, it stepped aside. "Then show them," it said softly, almost like a warning or perhaps a challenge. The child's glow intensified, brighter than anything had ever seen. It rose slightly from the ground, small arms extending outward, and the energy pulsed in waves. The drones hesitated, faltering under the sheer force of the child's light. Ethan felt a rush of relief, but it was fleeting. The drones regrouped and moved faster, determined to complete their mission. Ethan knew they had only seconds. "Listen to me," he whispered to the child. "We have to go now." The child responded with a soft musical hum, and the chamber seemed to shift, as if responding to their combined will. Symbols on the walls glowed and vibrated, creating a path of light toward a narrow exit that had previously been hidden. The drones lunged, but Ethan grabbed the child and sprinted toward the glowing corridor. As they ran, Ethan could feel the energy from the child wrapping around him, protective and guiding. The chamber shook violently, and he realized the entity the taller alien had mentioned was waking fully. Whatever it was alive, and it recognized the child. They burst out of the chamber into the alley above, gasping for air. The city night was quiet again, but Ethan knew it was only the calm before the storm. Something bigger was coming, something that would not stop until it had what it wanted. Ethan looked down at the small alien, still glowing faintly. "I don't know what they are," he whispered, "but I do know one thing. I won't let anything happen to you." The child tilted its head, eyes wide, and emitted a soft hum of understanding. In that moment, a silent bond formed, human and alien, courage and trust, standing together against a galaxy that had yet to understand them. And in the shadows, beyond the streetlights, the drones regrouped. The hunt was far from over. The city streets were quiet, but Ethan knew it was a fragile calm. The glow from the alien child lit the dark alley, casting long shadows that seemed to twitch and move as if alive. Ethan tightened his grip on the child's small hand, feeling. Its tiny pulse matched the rhythm of his own heartbeat. Whatever was after them was not far behind. From the corner of his eye, he saw the first of the drones appear, sliding silently along the rooftops like shadows made of metal. They descended. Quickly, their glowing eyes scanning for movement. Ethan's pulse quickened. One wrong step, and the child could be taken in an instant. "Stay close," he whispered, pulling the child behind him as they moved down the alley. The child's glow pulsed with each step, as if reacting to the tension in the air. Ethan realized that the child was not just scared, it was preparing somehow for what was coming. A sudden screech split the night, louder than any sound Ethan had heard before. From above, the drones dropped in formation, their metallic limbs glinting in the faint light. Ethan's eyes widened. There was no way he could outrun them. He had to fight, or at least hold them off long enough to escape. Then the taller alien appeared again, stepping out from the shadows. Its red eyes locked onto Ethan, but there was no aggression this time. Instead, it raised a hand, and the drones froze mid-air. Ethan stared, stunned. "You are not ready," the alien said softly, "but the child has chosen you. If you survive this night, you may yet protect it." Before Ethan could respond, the drones attacked. Ethan dove forward instinctively, using his body as a shield as one of the drones lunged toward the child. Sparks flew as the metallic limbs scraped the pavement, and the child let out a high-pitched sound that made Ethan wince. The glow from its body flared, pushing the drone back a few steps. But more were coming. Ethan realized something. The child's power was connected to emotion. Fear made it flicker, trust made it shine. Courage, his own courage, was now fueling. He took a deep breath, ignoring the adrenaline pounding through his veins. "We are not afraid," he said aloud. "We are together." The child responded immediately, its glow expanding, bright enough to illuminate the entire alley. The drones recoiled, disoriented by the sheer intensity of the light. Ethan grabbed the child, moving toward a side street he had noticed earlier. The glow from the child cut through the shadows like a blade, and Ethan could see their path clearly. Then came a deeper rumble, shaking the ground beneath their feet. Ethan stumbled, but held the child tight. The shadows on the walls seemed to twist and writhe, almost alive, reacting to the child's power. The city itself seemed to tremble. The entity beneath the streets, the one the taller alien had warned about, was awakening fully. Ethan realized the stakes. This was not just about saving one child anymore. The energy here, the entity connected to it, could change everything entirely. And if the wrong forces got their hands on it, the consequences would be catastrophic. Another screech echoed above, and one drone leapt forward, faster than the rest. Ethan braced himself, then remembered something he had learned in his travels. Sometimes the only way to survive is to trust in something greater than yourself. He held the child high, letting its glow flare, and shouted, "Go! Follow me if you want to live." The child hummed, and a wave of energy shot outward, pushing back the drones and creating a path through the darkness. Ethan ran, heart pounding, following the pulsing glow that guided them. Each step felt heavier, but he kept moving. The taller alien appeared at the edge of the street, silently watching, letting them pass. Behind them, the hum of the entity grew louder, vibrating in Ethan's chest. He realized that they were not just fleeing, it was a test, a challenge, and perhaps a beginning. The child's glow dimmed slightly as they reached a safer part of the city, and Ethan allowed himself a brief moment to catch his breath. He looked down at the small alien, eyes wide and trusting. "We made it, for now," he said, but he knew better. The night was far from over. Whatever was hunting them, Whatever the entity was, it was only the beginning. Ethan clenched his fists. He was just one human, but he would not back down. Not now. Not ever. And in the quiet glow of the alien child, he felt something stronger than fear, hope. The night air was thick with tension. Ethan's legs burned as he ran through the dark streets. The alien child clutched tightly to his chest. The glow from the child pulsed stronger with every step, lighting their path like a beacon. Behind them, the low hum of the entity beneath. The city grew louder, reverberating through the concrete and steel. Ethan felt it in his bones, a warning that the danger was far from over. Above, the drones swarmed like predators, their metallic limbs scraping against walls, their glowing eyes fixed on the child. Ethan knew they couldn't outrun them forever. Each corner could be a trap. And then, in the distance, he saw it. A wide plaza, open and exposed, but glowing symbols lined the ground similar to the chamber beneath the city. Somehow it seemed to beckon them. "We have to go there," Ethan whispered. "It's the only place we might be safe. Or at least have a chance." The child hummed, responding in kind, and the glow brightened, almost as if agreeing. Ethan felt a surge of hope, but it was quickly swallowed by dread. The drones were closing in, faster, smarter. They were learning, adapting to the child's power. As they entered the plaza, the ground trembled violently. Ethan stumbled, holding the child close. From the shadows, the taller alien appeared again, this time flanked by several more figures, aliens of different shapes, all watching silently. Ethan froze. Were they friends or foes? The taller alien's red eyes met his, and for a brief moment, Ethan saw something unexpected. "Trust. You cannot face this alone," the alien said softly. "But together, you may survive." Before Ethan could respond, the entity beneath the city erupted. Light and energy surged upward, fracturing the ground and sending shards of concrete flying. The drones screamed as if in pain, their coordinated attack faltering. Ethan held the child higher, shielding it with his own body as waves of energy pulsed around them. The child's glow exploded, brighter than the sun, and Ethan felt the air vibrate. It was not just light, it was force, power, life itself. He realized that the child was not helpless. It was the source, the heart, of something ancient and unimaginably powerful. And the drones, the hunters, had underestimated it. Then came the twist. The taller alien stepped forward, raising a hand toward the glowing child. "It must choose," it said quietly, almost mournfully. "The energy it holds could destroy. Or save. You human must guide it." Ethan's mind raced. Guide it? He didn't understand the child's power. He didn't even fully understand what was happening. But he looked down at the small alien in his arms and saw trust, hope, and determination shining in its wide black eyes. Whatever this power was, it was pure, and it was theirs to protect. Taking a deep breath, Ethan whispered, "You're not alone. We're together. Let's show them who you are." The child pulsed brighter than ever, a blinding wave of golden light radiating outward, pushing back the drones, the alien hunters, and even the energy of the entity itself. The ground shook violently, but instead of breaking, it seemed to stabilize under the child's power. For a moment, the city felt suspended in time. And then it happened. A silence fell. The drones lay scattered, powerless. The entity beneath. The city pulsed one final time, then receded, as if acknowledging the child's authority. Ethan fell to his knees, exhausted but alive. The child's glow softened, resting gently in his arms. The taller alien approached him, eyes still red but calmer. "You have done what no one thought possible. You have protected it, guided it, and earned its trust. Few humans could have done the same." Ethan looked around at the plaza, the child still glowing faintly. The danger had passed for now. But he knew the night would be remembered forever. They had faced forces beyond comprehension. Yet one human and one alien child had stood together, courage against fear, light against darkness. As dawn began to creep over the horizon, Ethan whispered softly to the child, "You're safe now. For now, but the universe has many more challenges. And I'll be with you, every step of the way." The child hummed in response, small but steady, and Ethan felt the bond between them grow stronger, a human and an alien, together against a galaxy that had never seen courage like theirs. For the first time he realized something profound, true. Heroism is not about power, it's about choice. And in that choice, even the smallest of beings could change the fate of the universe. The first rays of dawn stretched across the city, turning the streets golden. The alleyways, once dark and filled with danger, now felt quiet, almost peaceful. Ethan sat on the curb, exhausted, the small alien child curled gently in his arms. Its glow had softened to a gentle shimmer, like a heartbeat, calm and steady. He looked down at it, a mix of awe and relief washing over him. "We made it," he whispered. "We really made it." The child blinked slowly, tilting its head, and emitted a soft hum. Ethan didn't understand the sound, but he felt its meaning clearly. Trust, gratitude, and something deeper, a recognition of connection. For so long, the child had been alone, ignored by everyone who passed by, abandoned to fear and uncertainty. But now, in the arms of one human, it felt safe. Around them, the city began to wake. People started moving through the streets, unaware of the extraordinary night that had unfolded. Ethan realized how fragile life was, how easily something, or someone extraordinary, could be overlooked. He squeezed the child gently. One act of courage, one decision to stop and help, had changed everything. The taller alien appeared once more, emerging from the shadows at the edge of the plaza. Its red eyes were no longer menacing. They held a quiet respect. "You have done well," it said. "Few humans would have the courage to face what you faced. Few would protect something so powerful, so fragile, without fear." Ethan nodded, still catching his breath. "I didn't do it for power. I didn't do it for glory. I just couldn't leave it alone." The alien studied him for a moment, then looked down at the child. "It is rare," it said softly, "to find one who can be trusted so completely. This child has chosen you, human, and in that choice, the future of many will be shaped." Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. The weight of those words settled on him. He was just one human. But one human could make a difference. One human could stand for what was right, even when the universe seemed indifferent. The alien child stirred in his arms and looked up at him with wide, unblinking eyes. Then, it did something Ethan did not expect. It reached out and touched his face gently. Its small hand was warm, and the glow from its body pulsed softly. In that simple gesture, Ethan felt a connection that went beyond words. Understanding, trust, and a silent promise. "You're not alone anymore," he whispered. "I'll stay with you. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together." The taller alien nodded and stepped back into the shadows. "Your bond is strong," it said. "But remember, the universe watches. Your courage tonight will be remembered, not by humans alone, but by those who understand the weight of choice." Ethan watched it disappear, then looked at the child. Again, for the first time, he allowed himself to smile fully, a tired but genuine smile. He realized the truth that had carried him through the night. Heroism was not about weapons, power, or strength. It was about compassion, courage, and the willingness to stand for someone else when everyone else walks past. The sun climbed higher, spilling light over the city. Ethan rose to his feet, holding the child close. The streets were alive again. But now to him, the world felt bigger, filled with possibilities. The child hummed softly, and its glow brightened, small but steady, a reminder of the bond they now shared. As they walked toward the horizon, Ethan understood something he would never forget. One human had stopped, one human had chosen courage over fear, and in doing so, had changed the life of a child, and perhaps, one day, the fate of the universe itself. The alien child's hum grew stronger, almost musical, as if acknowledging the journey they had taken together. And in that sound, Ethan heard a promise that no matter what came next, they would face it together. Human and alien, courage and hope intertwined. For in a universe filled with indifference, one act of kindness could light the darkest night. And for Ethan and the small alien child, this was only the beginning.